two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. What is up, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes? It's your boy, Eddie Collins.
Guys, and it's Justin Brown.
And we are Medium Popcorn Niggas Spoiling Movies. And today we have a very special guest to help us break down Shaolin Soccer. One of the fucking crazy, everything we loved about RRR, this did the opposite of that for me. Christian Polanco, co-host of the Cooligans podcast and Metal Arc Media. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. It's nice to be here. It's nice to see you. It's been years since we've seen each other. You moved to LA. You sold your soul. So
to be fair, a lot of friends say I'm like way more relaxed now. Okay. They say like I'm very chill. Justin, you don't agree? Last week you were literally telling me. I'm like,
they legalized the marijuana years ago, bro. So I get it.
I'm high right now. But how you been, man? Like, I mean, yeah, it's been years. You've been like blowing up with the podcast and everything, man.
I've been good. Just still doing stand up, doing a bunch of soccer stuff. We started the Cooligans podcast, was a soccer podcast in 2015, and my life has completely changed dramatically. I went from, running around trying to do spots around New York City and on the road. And now I am interviewing David Beckham and some of the biggest superstars in football / soccer. So it's been great the last couple of years.
Okay. And what does soccer mean to you? Because obviously it's a sport that you love. And for me, I never got into soccer because I grew up in the suburbs, and the white boys that played soccer were like the preppy Abercrombie and Fitch rich kids that were like, "Oh, blacks don't play this sport," and so I was just like, "Well, I ain't fucking with that."
Damn, bro, they said that right to your face.
Bro, in Michigan, they said that brown people couldn't wear brown. Like, I had this awesome Popeye shirt; it was brown. This white kid, Tyler Hagee, I'm calling you out, motherfucker. He's like, brown people aren't supposed to wear brown. I'm like, what?
I mean, unless they work for UPS.
Okay. Damn, yo. Tyler coming in with it's like an awkward racism, a weird smoke. Yeah. I don't know how valid that criticism really is.
They had wild descriptions for black people. Like, I used to get called a prep with a ghetto twist just because I was black and I wore khakis. It's
bro.
The whole thing. But Christian, again, what does soccer mean to you?
Now, hold on. Can I just first say that I also grew up in the suburbs, but we had a lot of Caribbean people where I grew up. So blacks do play soccer.
Okay, yeah.
Brown people play soccer, especially you get out here, you get some Mexicans going, they will fuck your shit up in a soccer game.
All right. See, so I want to answer the question, but it's difficult to get to the question when I'm trying to parse through Brandon's childhood trauma. Okay. But I will get so first of all, when it comes, I enjoy soccer. The way I got into soccer really was through the FIFA video game. So I'm Dominican. So Dominicans that's baseball, right? And that's what I grew up with. And but I was playing video games. I started playing FIFA, and then I started. I worked at a GameStop with a bunch of friends that all enjoyed soccer. They were Colombian, just like Central American people. Took me to my first soccer game, and then I was pretty much hooked. By around like the '98 World Cup, I was like already in. All right. And then the other thing is, when it comes to soccer in this country, and this is a topic that comes up often on our show, is that the American soccer doesn't look like the soccer in the rest of the world. So in every other country, it's a poor person sport. It is a black person sport. It is for the it's the everyman sport. In America, the game is so monetized. Like, you have to have money to play on these travel teams. So you can be seen, so you can see by scouts and stuff like that. So it's a big problem that this country is trying to sort out, because the game should be more popular than it is. And realistically, this is not like an exaggeration, more people play soccer in the United States than almost any other country in the world. But the problem The problem is, so we have more like youth and children playing the game. It's like from like 6 to 15 years old, like children are all playing it. But then after that, there's nothing. They don't follow a team. They don't connect with any soccer team in the country. So that's something I think, Alexis and I, we're trying to sort of change what American soccer looks like, because it should be a little bit more similar to the rest of the world.
Yeah, man.
Fair.
When you think about the 90s, like with the Mighty Ducks and like Little Giants and stuff like that, that like really, it's Sandlot that like highlighted these sports. For soccer, all y'all got was the big green, and that's one of the worst. You know what I mean? You guys
And
had
ladybugs. And
Oh,
yeah.
There's which was the one with the girl was that Ladybug? No, not Lady. The one who dressed
Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield, Ladybug, but the one where the girl dressed up as a guy to play on the boys' team. I don't remember that movie. Bend It Like Beckham. But that was also a classic, and that helped. I think there was another one with what the hell was her name?
Amanda Bynes.
Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But that was another. So there's a couple, when it comes to marketing, how the game is marketed, the real problem is that there's so many, especially in our childhood, it was like soccer's gay and it's just like constantly dealing with like that. It's just like a feminine sport. It's not a real sport. It's not real football and blah, blah, blah. But no, it's just weird because I've been to Germany. I've been to London. I've been to Liverpool, to Manchester, and it is the fabric of the society. It is the most important sporting event. Whenever those matches are going on in those towns, it is the most important thing. And it's a huge part of the culture. So it's growing. It's only growing in this country because in 2026 we're gonna have the World Cup. So we're ramping up into something really, really big the next couple of years.
So two things you put in the chat. The movie with Amanda Bynes is She's the Man.
That's right.
She's the Man. But I will say, actually, first of all, I think basketball is the soccer here. You know what I'm saying? The rest of the world, it is the cheap sport that anybody can really play.
Right. Yeah. And that's it's a shame that people say this about a lot of sports, like even getting into baseball. I've heard from a lot of like coaches and parents that it's expensive to have a kid and just be playing soccer. It's just like it can be like $6,000 to $8,000 a year. Like, that's a crazy. And then if you have more than one kid, it's unbelievable. So that's a thing.
He needs a ball. Money on. It's a ball and cleats.
You have to. So what? You need to buy uniforms. You need to. They need to travel. If they're on a good team and they're getting better, they need to travel to all the different cities and towns. And maybe there might be some flights. There's registration fees to get into tournaments. It's every single thing is sort of itemized in soccer. And what tends to happen in other countries is the system is more socialized. So it's basically like say Manchester United, right? One of the biggest teams in the entire world. The idea of a kid playing in their academy having to pay to be a part of it is absurd, because they make so much money that it is only in their best interest to basically let all the kids play essentially for free. And if there's any good talent, they're gonna bring so much money to the club. And then even if the kid if the kid is really, really good, and maybe long term it doesn't work out and they don't end up at Manchester United, they buy the rights to the player, so they have his contract and they can sell the player to another team. And what tends to happen, so let's say a kid is developed in England and he gets sold to a club in Spain. What tends to happen is the Spanish club will pay Manchester United, and there's something called solidarity payments. I didn't think I was going to get into all of this fast.
Yeah, we're getting deep.
No, but this is dope. I never knew this shit.
there is a real, like, we talk about Reaganomics and trickle-down economics. In soccer, it's a real thing, and it actually works. So it's called solidarity payments. So that means if a kid goes from England to Spain, they go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid will pay Manchester United whatever the fee is for that player. And then there is a percentage, I think it's something like 1 or 2%, a percentage of that transfer fee. So if Real Madrid paid $50 million for that player, the school, like the academy that the kid came up in, will get a percentage of money because they train the kid. So that's the thing that doesn't really exist in America. So we don't have an economy where we can develop a player, sell him to another team, and then the academy will get money to therefore develop other kids for free. And then it's just an endless cycle of development and creating players, and the parents are not the ones footing the bill. And this is the thing that has to change. And in American soccer, it's a huge problem.
Wow. That's super interesting.
That was a good breakdown.
That's super interesting. Hold on. I also need to throw this out. So, I do some work with the New York Red Bulls.
Okay, boo! So, you see my NYCFC?
No. Listen. This has nothing to do with, I don't support it. I'm not really I'm not a soccer dude. But let me say one thing about the game of soccer. If you are looking to pick up women, some of the most beautiful women in the world are at soccer games. And I remember the first game that I was at a soccer game. I was just like, holy shit. And mind you, at the same time, bro, the soccer, it is a huge international sport. So when people, especially in New York City, are visiting New York City, they don't want to go to a basketball. They're going to the New York Red Bulls game over there in Jersey City. And so some of the most, I'm like, what is going on here? I didn't know.
This is why, especially when you're watching the World Cup, the camera operator, right, in between goals, in between stoppages of play, what happens? They're looking for the most attractive women to put on camera, because they know what keeps people watching. All right. Yep. So it's I remember one of the first games I ever went to, and you mentioned Colombia. One of my best friends is Colombian and really introduced me to the game, and he would bring me to matches and at Giant Stadium, at the old Giant Stadium. And one of the first matches I went to was England against Colombia. It was the first time David Beckham played in the United States. Oh, right. Wow. He was Manchester United used to do friendlies, like exhibition matches throughout the summer. This is their preseason. They usually go, the European clubs go to different countries, make a little bit of money, kick the ball around, have a good time. But David Beckham was obviously a big deal. Plays in the U.S. for the first time and at Giant Stadium. So this is one of my first games. Might have been the third game I ever went to. Giant Stadium, the old one, seated probably like 80,000 people. And I'm at a soccer game, and I couldn't believe that. There were probably like 79,000 people in this stadium, and basically David Beckham was the guy who sold all these tickets. All right, he was he did the bringer, bro. He filled the room, and so I remember the charm and beauty of David Beckham. But one of the main takeaways was like, Jesus Christ, these are the hottest women I've ever seen in my life in the stands. I gotta, I just gotta stare at David Beckham as long as I can, so they don't catch me looking at the Colombian ladies. Okay.
Well, bro, and then on top of that, like, I've never heard a crowd that loud. Yeah. They're rocking. They're rocking, and like it was very eye opening to the point where it's just like, if I'm offered those positions, like, hey, well, we got a Red Bulls game, and I'm just like, yeah. I'm a married man. I just need to go and look.
Yeah. Just let me look at the appetizers.
Sure. Look. There's more to the game than just staring at, butts and boobs. But look, if I'm of the like ilk of like, look, if you're gonna go to the game, I'm not gonna argue with you about why you're going, okay? Because I'm a fan of the sport.
It's all good because everybody looking at each other. Like you just said in the chat, the soccer players are good looking too. So the women are there to look at the soccer players with their shirts off. We're there to look at the women, look at the soccer players. It's all a cyclical thing.
I also have a theory. I have a theory that it's almost impossible to make it as a professional soccer player if you're not somewhat attractive. It's not coming from any kind of data or science. There's just something of like, why are all of y'all kind of cute? Male, female, doesn't matter. There's just always, it feels a little bit like that's part of the scouting process.
It is. Besides beach volleyball, I would say it's probably the sexiest sport. Like, because again, like there's some referees, some female referees in soccer that I follow on Instagram because I'm just like, God damn, like they're not even looking cute on the field. They do like these cute smiles and shit. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I gotta follow that.
So a crazy thing is that
We haven't talked about the movie at all.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
We'll get to it. And there's a lot to unpack too, so it's crazy.
Oh yeah, there's a ton. How dare you? First of all, Christian, how dare you for this movie? But I think it's, you know, like Brandon, you said it's like, you know, I think beach volleyball is the sexiest. No, I think soccer is probably the sexiest. It's the sexiest for us.
Okay.
But like overall, I you know, for men meaning beach volleyball is the sexiest.
But we're not able to watch the female audience members the whole game. You know what I mean? So I'm not necessarily into the dudes with the sweat going down.
Yeah, but I would say overall, soccer is probably a sexier sport. You know, if you're looking a broad spectrum, I would say. But I'm just listen. I've seen things out there. I've seen things out there.
I think we're watching the different sport, bro. I don't know. You watching your games on Pornhub? I don't know what's going on.
Wait, so have you guys seen the dude on Instagram? He's around like New York City, like doing like these trick shots. Black dude, like, you know, kicking things in garbage cans.
Yeah, I have seen that dude.
Yeah, that dude. I met him at a Red Bulls game because he was working at the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Yo, and like that's the other thing. Like soccer players are very. One thing that I find is the soccer players, they're very approachable and they're really cool. Like it's different. It's a different vibe.
Definitely in America, without a doubt.
For sure,
because there are athletes I've interviewed, especially American ones that end up playing in different countries, and like this, I've gotten players on our show just by like DMing them, and at first that seems like insane, but American soccer players they're not necessarily celebrities, so they're much more approachable. But I've spoken to guys that play in Mexico, let's say, and not, you know, they didn't arrive in Mexico famous, but once they play for a particular club, because the club is so much a part of like it's the fabric of that community. So everybody knows who ends up going there, and it could be good or bad, because if you have a bad game, you trying to get a bagel, and people are like, nah, we out of bagels, you know.
Somebody might break your leg, you know?
Or I was gonna say, in the case of Shaolin soccer, they beat the fuck out of your leg when you have this obnoxious limp the whole fucking time.
It's the bigger issue is that they can't even really like walk around, go to a store, walk. I mean, the crowds will develop immediately because they're just in certain countries the game is so important, and those clubs are too important to just let these guys like chill and walk around and stuff like that. So so it's a little bit different in other countries.
You know, it's funny because I have a real quick, Brandon, real quick.
Okay, because I can't let Christian get away with us not talking about Golden Leg Kwang. He's trying to do everything but talk about this crazy ass movie.
I'm happy to talk about it.
I was an hour outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin, in a little town called Neenah. I was doing this show, and people kept stopping me and asking me if I played for the Packers. The first.
Damn, bro.
yeah.
We've had some weird ass racism.
You ain't that big, Justin. I don't
know. I know, which is even crazier. So I was kind of just like, but if you do play for the Packers, just imagine like in that area, there aren't that many black people, so they just assume everybody plays for the Packers.
Sure. There's a lot of cities in the Midwest. So you even got a tan. People are like, yeah, you a tight end on the Colts.
You before is either on a mugshot or on the field. Which one is it?
Okay,
but let's get to this movie. Let's do it.
Okay, here's the thing. Like the reason why I brought up RR when we first started mentioning Shaolin soccer is because you have to get in the mindset of what the movie is, and if you can do that, you can have a fun time if you embrace the insanity that the movie presents itself as. But Shaolin soccer is so incomprehensible and fucking nuts. Like they had this motherfucker licking, like spitting on the dude's leg to see if it's legit a regular leg. He had the one obese kid that's stuffing potato chips in his mouth, saying, "I don't know why I can't get a date." You got
you got a bitch slipping on a banana peel, and then somebody saying if she knew kung fu, she wouldn't have fallen.
Okay,
and
so
then
look,
we have a shot. Hold on, of a nigga slipping on a banana peel and then flipping and then bouncing off the other banana peels to land on his feet. He's like, "Yeah, I did that." I'm like, what?
Okay, so just a preface before we keep going. The movie came out in July of 2001. So it didn't come out 3 weeks ago. So there's definitely cultural things that don't really like hold up. You know, there's a lot of like, slapping, slapstick comedy, but it's a little bit like, there's a woman talking and he wants her to stop. So he slaps her in the face. I'm like, okay, that's not, we don't do that now, but I get what you were trying to do at the time. So yeah, more than anything, it's not exactly a comedy, but it is kind of goofy, and it's really just a combination of kung fu and soccer. And at the time, and I'm surprised. Okay.
Crack.
Okay, severe opiates were involved in making this film.
They had to be. They had to be for some of this stuff, man. I mean, the director and editor had to be on fucking peyote or something. This is like, I mean, the soccer scenes were kind of fun, like especially with like the different effects and stuff like that. But the story itself is fucking wild. I mean,
it's very silly. And look, I obviously saw this movie when I was pretty young. I think I was like 19 or something like that when I saw it, 20. And I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in probably like 15 years. So I did watch it again today just to refresh my memory. And yeah, the one thing
this pain with us,
but the thing I didn't remember much was the storyline. The storyline was psychotic and barely comprehensible. And but then all the karate soccer stuff, I was like, yeah, this is the movie I fell in love with.
I read the Wikipedia summary of this movie after I watched it, and I was like, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah. So here's the question: did you guys watch the 1.5-hour version of this, or did you watch the 2-hour version?
No, I watched the 1.5 hour. I saw there was 2 versions.
Oh no, I didn't know there was a shorter version. I watched the 2-hour version.
Wait, so what happens in the 2-hour version?
It's a lot extra.
I'm assuming that there's more, because the first, I would say, hour of the movie, there's like no soccer almost at all, and you're like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, bro, I remember this movie being about soccer. What's going on here? And there's a lot of buildup that's so wildly unnecessary. It's a pretty simple plot that we've seen hundreds of times in
especially
movies
in America.
Yes. I mean, obviously, evil
crazy
coach or whatever, and evil guy with the team name of his team is Team Evil, which is lovely.
Right on the nose. Right.
Simple. It's good. It's a second grader could understand it. You didn't need you didn't really need the love story. It was pretty pointless. You didn't need the looking for the players. They didn't do any real background on any of the players outside of like stupid little stereotypes and stuff.
Can I just say they all look like pedophiles on that rooftop? That was like one of them's in a bathrobe, the others like it looked like they were like a conspiracy circle to be like, now we're gonna go to the school. It was so uncomfortable. I get this supposed to be silly and weird, but this is like there was something sinister behind those eyes of the actors in that scene. I did not like it.
It's not winning an Oscar anytime soon, I promise.
No. For sure it's not. The one thing that I watched the first half of the 2-hour version, and then I had to take a break last night. And then
needed to gather yourself.
Did you watch the subtitle, or is there a dub version of this?
It's all sub.
Okay.
Yeah, I was subtitled as well.
Okay, cool.
So then today I was just like, all right, I got to start this again, but I was out. So like I put it on my iPad, and then I found like, wait, there's an 1.5-hour version of this. I'm just going to watch that. And then I noticed, the big cuts that happen. like there is like I said, like Rich said, there's a lot more context. Like you have the backstory between the fucking golden leg and freaking Mr. Evil, whatever his damn name is.
Well, it gives you more than like Mr.
just
Evil just convinced him to throw the game and like hire that mob to beat the shit out of him. Like there's more to that story.
No, but you actually see it.
What do
You
you mean
actually see the movie starts with him is just like in the locker room offering him a check.
Oh, okay.
And then after, so when he's getting his ass pounded out on the field, and Mr. Evil, like he does that like kind of look and then walks away, you understand like, okay, so this whole thing was a setup.
Got it.
But like,
okay.
yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in here.
Yeah,
that you missed out.
He's comically evil, literally in that scene of like when it's in black and white and they're showing when he gets beat up, and he laughs, and then they transition into like current time, and he's laughing, anime, ha 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 ha, like, and it's like, bro, all right, this is real. It's weirder when it's real life. So they definitely they played it up a lot. It essentially feels like a kid's movie, I guess, to some degree. But there's a general, especially for the first hour of the film, just a general sprinkling of discomfort throughout the whole thing. It's not a comfortable movie to watch up until they actually start playing the games. I mean,
this whole the whole love story was like uncomfortable because the woman has like really bad acne and boils, and it's just like, you're beautiful. Oh, let me have your dumplings. And it's like, what is? And like, here's my crappy shoes for a dumpling, and then like she put stickers on them. And I was just like, what? It felt like a Looney Tunes cartoon at times.
It was a strange. The boils on her face was so unnecessary, right? They leaned in. They were like, we have to make this woman disgusting. She's not disgusting enough. Add more acne and scars to make sure that the world understands that this woman is genuinely hideous. It felt like bullying to some degree. But so that's why, like, the love story part, I vaguely even remember it when before I watched it again. I'm like, this was it's just too much fluff and unnecessary parts of the movie. It's too long.
Yeah, they made it look so unattractive that when she was bald at the end to save the goal, I was like, she looks hot. Like,
yes.
It was like,
she had to shed that fucking terrible shell that they put on her in the beginning of the movie for her.
The bar had been set so low that this is now the most gorgeous woman you have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I also hate how gross this movie was. I mean, like that egg scene when they're kicking around the egg and they had the obese kid running around eating everyone's egg. I was like, this is disgusting.
Well, they had to train, Brandon. I don't know. How else are you supposed to train?
I mean, Brandon, how do the Avengers become the Avengers? They need to eat eggs. Okay.
That would be funny. That would be a funny, like it doesn't have to be a full season or anything, but just like little episodes of like the private chef at Avengers Tower and what he has to cook every day to feed those motherfuckers. Like, because they all got different diets and shit.
I mean, they don't live together.
That'd be a funny show too. They're all like, it's like Friends, but with superheroes.
What was that cartoon where it was like a reality TV show?
It was on Comedy Central. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
No, not Teen Titans.
It's like Drawn Together or something.
Drawn Together, yeah.
Drawn Together. Like that show was fucking nuts, but really funny though.
There was one, I don't remember what the context of this scene in Drawn Together, but there was a line in it that I think about. I feel like every like 2-3 months there was one of the characters was like in a limo, and I think they wanted to like hook up with one of the other characters. And I don't remember exactly the context, but all he said to her was like, I need you to make me feel good. And I was like, what? And I can't get that out of my damn head.
Yeah, I remember saying.
I mean, some things just stick with you, like,
bro.
Like this movie, like the opening is so insane in the limited version because you don't get the context of like the bribe and stuff. So when that dude just walks with and then it cuts to modern day and you see him, the glasses, he's evil. And then the dude comes with the limp looking all kinds of crazy, and then immediately throws his stuff down and starts saying, "I'll clean your shoes." The bad guy puts his head on that dude's head. I'll clean them myself.
No, his foot on the back of his
and
head.
I was just like, "What is?" And then it cuts to him talking to this dude who's on the street, like, life would be better if you knew Shaolin Kung Fu. I'm saying, what is going on? How do we get here?
Yeah, I mean, typically, especially with a film like this, I would never say this, but you do need to watch the extended version.
Right.
Well, yeah, so much.
The context and really the plot of the film is, former soccer star gets injured and is basically a loser and is in debt of the guy who basically put him in that position. Yeah. And then the other protagonist is the Kung Fu Shaolin guy who's like he wants to teach everybody about Kung Fu, and because he believes it'll change the world and it makes everybody's life better. So it's just these two guys helping each other. He needs to get revenge on his former boss. The other guy, he's using soccer, the most popular sport, the most popular platform to deliver a message. And boom, this is why this film is a classic. It's a beautiful story.
Yes, until steroids come into play.
Bro.
Oh, well, that was insane. When that dude caught the ball, that was one of the cool, the only cool moments in this movie. I was like, oh shit!
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. There were some cool moments in this.
There were a lot of cool moments.
This is almost like this is RRR match with Ladybugs, match with Dragon Ball Z, match. There's so much going on. It is an overload.
I used to work at a video game store, and we used to sell karate movies and stuff like that, and like anime and stuff like that. That was like my first job when I was like 14. And so when this movie ended up coming out, I'm like, this is my wheelhouse, bro. I was watching Ninja Scroll and Dragon Ball Z and all the Jet Li films and stuff like that. Yeah. And this right up my alley. This was like because the soccer scenes are essentially kung fu scenes that we're used to seeing. It was just I even think at the time, I don't know where, I can't really remember where we were with like CGI and stuff like that, but at the time this felt like one of like, bro, how are they doing this? It actually, yeah, that's what I was impressed with. It still holds up today. It looks good. It doesn't look corny or cheesy. In my opinion.
I bet to differ on that, but Yuvia did find in her research, all the bullet time like effects in the movie were done by only 2 motion picture cameras, and all the still frames were generated with the computer. So
look at that.
Having that $10 million budget, they made the most out of their budget.
Yeah. If this were made in America, this would be a $400 million budget or something like that.
Maybe
It'd be a crazy
not,
budget.
Maybe not, because Everything Everywhere All at Once, $35 million.
That's remarkable.
But it's still not like this, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is like I said, it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Bro,
on crack. On crack.
I don't know if you know this, but the hot dog fingers cost $12.5 million. I don't know if you know that.
It got Jamie Lee Curtis and Oscar.
That was most of the budget, to be honest.
This movie grossed over $42.8 million to the box office, and in the Hong Kong box office, it was the highest grossing film in the region's history at the time, and it held that record until 2004. When it was topped by Stephen Chow's next feature, Kung Fu Hustle, which, if that's anything like this shit, I don't know, man.
Brandon, you've never seen Kung Fu Hustle?
I've never seen Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh yeah, that's a wild one. That's another fucking wild.
Is it crazier than this, or is this a little bit?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I would say the story is just that story's wilder. That story's wilder than this. I mean, this. I don't know. Actually, I don't know which one is wilder.
And there's a lot of same. I did see Kung Fu Hustle, but I don't remember it. But I'm like looking at the images, and a lot of the characters from Shaolin Soccer. The big dude is in there. A couple other people. So
I believe the woman who was the boss of the
market,
Acme girl.
Yeah.
I think she's in Kung Fu Hustle as well.
Oh.
Okay.
Can we talk about bosses real quick? What was the gag with the dude constantly getting a bottle beat over his head and being told he was stupid?
Bosses are abusive, baby.
No, but that was happening to the boss.
No,
The guy who's
I thought the other guy was the boss.
I mean,
They did a weird karaoke song wearing bald masks and with the Krillin dots. I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
No. Dude, there were so many parts where I'm like, I know I'm high right now, but like this isn't making any sense.
There were just so many. I think as they were writing the script, I think they felt that they wanted they wanted like a genuine connection to each of the characters and how each of them got on board. Like, you know how when you play a role-playing game and you go from town to town and then they join your party and stuff like that. And so there's like a genuine sort of connection because like, oh, they need something. It's basically Wizard of Oz, right? Meeting and they all come to the crew and they all are going on the journey, but they just leaned into every single person's story as to why they needed to join this team. And that is where the movie is it's just like, bro, why the karaoke? Why the choreographer? Why did they need to give everyone sort of backstory to such great detail? It's like they spend like 12 to 15 minutes like per person. And it's like, bro, we don't need all of this. We
didn't get that.
You know what?
We didn't get that in the 90-minute version. Thank the Lord.
You didn't. So the crazy thing is, I see it less anime or like a RPG. I'm seeing like it's very Ocean's 11.
Right.
It's very Ocean's 11. And then it's just like at some point throughout everybody's story, you know, they subtly say they don't necessarily say it, but they all come together on that roof. And it's just like, you son of a bitch. And then they all like, we're in. And like, it's so wild. This may be my wildest film of the year so far that we've covered. Like, this is like something different.
I'm glad. This is why I wanted to pick this one. I was thinking of like, more, just better films, to be honest, but in regards to soccer, or I was even thinking of something not really soccer, but because I spend pretty much every day of my life talking about soccer. But this is a film that I think everyone just needs to watch it, especially if they're a fan of the sport, and even if they're not. But especially if you're a fan of the sport, it's a cult classic. It's gonna come up at parties, bro. You can't not know about it.
I mean, this is definitely a cult.
Okay. Because I gotta stop you for a sec. Because Christian, you talked earlier about like soccer's an expensive sport. You need to buy uniforms and stuff. Because they're being led. Shaolin is being led by a man who's actually homeless, right? Like the golden leg is homeless, right? He has no money.
Correct? Yeah, some issues. Yeah.
Wait.
How is he able to afford uniforms?
You mean the soccer team?
The soccer team. Yes. The soccer team is being led by Fung, who is homeless.
Yes.
Right. So the reason he was able to afford it was because he went to go register the team to play in the tournament, and then the Mr. Evil, the villain in the film, saw the players. And he was like, they look like just a ragtag bunch of losers. And he's like, started laughing at them. And he's like, this is hilarious. You know what? I'll pay for your registration fee. You guys, please join. Because the assumption was he was completely going to like humiliate them. And, things turned out a little bit differently.
Justin, can you corroborate whether or not that isn't a shorter version? Because I don't think it was.
Actually, that I didn't see. No, that was.
Okay, because I don't remember that.
No, because
that's a key
no. It was because I remember they're at the desk and they all like stand up. He's like, "Oh, this is my team," and he walks in. He's just like, "The fuck," and just starts laughing. He's just like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll let him in. Let him in."
There's definitely
a few moments. Hilarious.
There was definitely a few moments where my eyes glazed over, and
can't blame you.
Listen, last night when I was watching this, my eyes glazed over and they closed. This morning, this is not a film that you can watch at night. This is a morning film. This is a coffee film.
Right.
Like, you have to be lucid. If there's even an ounce of tiredness in you, it'll lose you, especially the long version. Shorter version is far easier to get.
I'll be honest and transparent. You can fall asleep 20 minutes at a time throughout the movie. You're gonna the end is gonna make sense to you. You're not gonna miss out on that much. So it doesn't require that much of your attention.
It is a very traditional good versus evil type of story, and then You know, it's just without context, it is fucking batshit crazy. I mean, when you see dudes like picking up other dudes with just like their one ankle, lifting them up with two ankles, it's so crazy. And then he's like, "Ow!" You're like, "What?"
Well, there was the one part that like really didn't make that much sense was the when they're holding his ankle down and holding his leg, like the two players are holding his leg straight, and then two other players come in and kick his knee from both sides, and then the ref who's like in on it, right, in on the fix, is essentially being like, you got to get up or your team's gonna forfeit because you don't have enough players, and he's like, his knee looks completely battered, and they do the sound effect of like the knee shattered, and he's like, all right, I'm okay, I'll keep going. I'm like, all right, well, that looked like such a severe injury that I'm like, it's almost like a cringe, like you can't even watch it even though you know it's fake. So that part of it seemed like, it just took me out of the film a little bit, guys, I'll be honest.
That's what took you out. That's what took you out.
I mean, I got taken out of the film once the dude spit on his leg to examine it and just was rubbing it, polishing it and stuff. I was, because between that and the shoe shine scene just a little bit earlier, I was like, I get that he got the shit beat out of him when he was younger. I get it. He was destroyed by his community. But all I'm
gonna say is this: this movie could not be made with black people because that is very slick.
No.
Yeah, you could be radio.
Hit it, boss. You know, this real leg. This ain't fixed. Oh yeah, boy. Yeah, it's wild.
It does feel a little bit like the general tone of the plot and the script feels like if you told me this was written in 1938, I'd be like, oh yeah, I get it. Like this is from another time. This is not how we are now. But yeah, it's look, there's problematic themes. But the soccer is fun. That's the best part.
That Bruce Lee tribute with the goalkeeper was nuts as well. I was just like, what? Where do you get that from?
I don't know what look, obviously Bruce Lee's a hero to plenty of people. And honestly, the weirdest part for me wasn't Bruce Lee essentially being in the film. It was that goalkeepers are, and this is a rule in soccer, is that goalkeepers cannot wear a similar color to the actual team. They have to wear something distinctly different, very, very different from what everyone on the team is wearing. So there's no color clashing and stuff like that. And so who the goalkeeper is, right? So that the opposing team knows. And Bruce Lee's wearing the yellow jumpsuit from what movie? Not Game of Death. Is it Game of Death?
Game of Death.
Yep. It was Game of Death.
So he's wearing that, and then the other team, their team is also wearing yellow. I'm like, bro, this ain't IFAB. this doesn't follow the rules.
It's like that doesn't check out. Everything else in the movie is fine.
Yeah, the flipping, getting the backflips in the air, fire on the soccer ball with a dragon on it. I'm like, my whole thing
is the audience never reacts to this. The audience is never like, holy shit, this is something completely new. We've never seen shit like this. They're just like, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they introduce it by when they play the first team that they play is like just a regular bunch of guys that are just here to play in the tournament, and then they see all these amazing kung fu soccer moves, and they're like, "What?
They're not even being coached. They're not even being coached on the game. They're literally not doing anything related to the game in the montage of them getting ready for that first tournament.
Yeah." Yeah,
they just had their powers,
right?
Their kung fu powers.
The oddest part, as far as like, look, if I was directing these scenes, I would probably incorporate a little bit more actual soccer being played rather than like leaning on the fighting. But it was unnecessary. Just make it grounded in some reality, right? And they didn't try at all. But then the really the strangest part, especially in the end, when the Team Evil is like they all line up to take kicks at the goalkeeper, who is the replacement goalkeeper, and he is just I mean, it's like a firing squad, right? It's like all 11 guys line up.
So crazy.
And they keep bang, bang, bang. They all take shots. And then there's a little bit of like, bro, aim for the top corner, bro. Like, you trying to win or what's going on? Because I think I could do a little bit better than these guys. But that part of it was just more than anything. It's just like, why do these segments have to be so long? Yes, we get it. They keep kicking the ball at him, but it's like, we don't need literally like 3 minutes of the same exact thing. We get what is going on.
It was like you were watching someone get beat to death with a soccer ball. It was very dark and disturbing. And then on top of that, like the nigga was just shaking like a pinball stand. And you're like, he's just lighting up. And then he catches it finally with his belly and then shoots it back at them, a la Ryu and the fireball. I was just like, first, I was like, okay, I can buy into a crazy ass world. I love crazy ass worlds. I can dig it. But I was like, when you do some weird shit like what they're doing in this movie, like it's nonsensical, that's when you lose me. Because the fact that no one's reacting to these powers, but obviously they're impressed by the powers, the rules of the world are all over the place.
Right. Yeah, I agree, bro. I mean, we could have used just a little bit more. Use the whistle is meant to be used, ref. Bro, like,
oh yeah,
control this game. This is why you have yellow cards. This is why you have red cards. Referees are not only there; they're not just cops. You know what I mean? They are there to they police the game, but they are there to like do more. It's like a boxing ref, right? A boxing ref is doing more than just like they're splitting the boxers up when they're holding too much, because the referee knows that the game is not the match is not entertaining. They have to get involved to make sure that the audience gets the best game possible. And this ref in Shaolin soccer, really, bro, he's gonna be. I'm sure he got a phone call or two from the higher ups.
I'm sure he did get his ass whooped.
Well, there was no consequence. I mean, Dr. Evil, he got put in jail, but he also fell down the stairs and no one gave a fuck. Like,
that's a very strange decision in the plot.
Dude,
why?
I mean, can we talk about the ending real quick? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Is everyone in this town now like they're like either trained in kung fu or they all have superpowers? I was like, why is everyone flipping around?
Because they now know that kung fu will enrich their life in every single way possible.
Bro.
Like, Brandon, were you missing something?
Bro, this is just typical kung fu propaganda, bro. We've seen it before. It's nothing new.
I did have it's funny because in my initial treatment for the script I'm writing for Universal, it's about a failed martial artist who knows like kung fu and stuff, right? And he almost is obsessive, like the way the main character is, where he would be like, it's like kung fu is a way of life. Like if you're not living by the spirit of Shaolin, you're not living right. And everyone in the rural town's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And the feedback I kept getting was, this is incredibly dark. This dude seems dangerous. Your main protagonist seems very unhinged. And the fact that I actually saw this guy living that, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good note for the studio.
Damn, sometimes corporate is right. Damn.
No, or maybe Brandon, that movie needs to go out to China.
Okay,
get out there.
Green light here.
You should reach out to Stephen Chow, and y'all gonna make a movie.
Well, I mean, yeah, he did write, direct, and star in this movie. He did a triple hander.
Bro, your film could be the next Kung Fu Hustle, because regardless of the fact that Kung Fu Hustle, this film, absolutely fucking crazy. They were hits. Yes, they were hits because Kung Fu Hustle. I remember everybody was talking about that film when it came out, and like it was a big hit. Regardless of whether people liked it or not, that movie, like people had something to say. So speak Stephen Chow. You never know, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll shoot an email. But before we get to our own reviews of Shaolin Soccer, we did get one Patriot thought on the movie. And folks, remember, if you sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/mediapopcorn, you were guaranteed to have your thoughts or reviews read on that future episode. Strawfire71 wrote, "This is actually one of my go-to films when I need to pick me up. The plot is ridiculous, but you don't care. The amazing martial arts and the humor of the story make it work." Girl,
okay.
I don't. Okay,
you see,
that's.
Thank you. Was it strawberry?
Straw fire 71.
fire.
Strawberry.
Yo,
Strawberry
okay.
fields forever.
Finally, never connected with someone so deeply. Thank you for that review.
I mean, Christian, come on, man. Look, Justin, break down our rating system. And Christian, be real. What your thoughts are on this
Okay,
movie?
so Christian, we rate movies bags of popcorn.
Mhm.
Small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any popcorn, we throw it into the dog shit pile. We pile piles and piles of dog shit on top of it.
Gotcha.
So we sat down and we watched the 2001 film, the 2001 film Shaolin Soccer, written, directed, and starring Mr. Stephen Chow and a bunch of other actors I've never heard of. And even though they
It's like the Asian Tommy Wiseau.
pretty much. Christian, what say you, sir?
This I'm gonna give a genuine review. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give a small bag of popcorn. Small bag.
Okay.
Okay.
So
It's a good.
You want to
it's a-
defend that small? Throw out why you feel.
It is to me, it is a cult classic. And even before I was really into soccer, it was a movie that it's just so absurd and so ridiculous. And and especially at the time, it was really nothing that we'd sort of seen before, sort of merge karate and this sport in this manner. It feels like a anime. It feels like a goofy cartoon. But just like Strawfire, whatever it was said, it is a feel good film, especially the last hour. It is just entertaining and fun to watch. It's silly, it's fun, and especially, like I said, if you're a soccer fan, I think it's a must watch.
Okay, Brandon.
Yeah, so this gets a small too. I wasn't giving a dog shit, but this gets a small just because it is creative enough and it's unique enough where I can say I've never seen anything like this before. Having said that, I'll never see anything like this again because I'm not gonna watch this again
Until Kung Fu Hustle. Go on.
I really, man, I hope that's better. This was rough because I felt like I wasn't getting it, but then I would rewatch scenes and be like, oh no, this just doesn't make any sense. And that got frustrating after the third time having to do that in only an hour and a half movie. You know what I mean? And so for me, I just never really connected with the story, even though I did like the action set pieces. I thought that those are really cool and creative, but I just didn't care about the characters that were performing them enough to really, like, even when they started getting injured, I had no idea who was getting out of the game. I had no idea what the consequences were going to be for Evil, nor we still don't know if Fung has a house at the end of this movie. He just won a trophy, but he has no house to take it to.
Bro, he's gonna live in the trophy. It makes sense.
Because he's a little man. Okay. Justin, what's your rating?
So a little context behind my rating here. I actually saw the ending of this film maybe 3 months ago. Randomly saw it on TV.
Okay.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? Had no idea what it was. When this came down, this is what we're doing, Shaolin Soccer. I was like, it can't be that crazy. That I sort of ended, and I was like, oh shit, it is. And after seeing the ending and seeing how nuts that fucking was and having no context and then getting the context of this film, I'm giving it a medium.
Wow, look at that.
Jesus
This
Christ.
movie, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's 100% nuts. But there has to be something said about swinging for the fucking fence. They swung for the fucking fence. They hit that motherfucker. I mean, it's not a home run, but it's fun. It's a really fun film. It's fucking crazy, but it's fun. And I know you guys are going to hate me for this, but you have to watch the extended version. Because if you don't watch the extended version, you're missing a lot. There's so much more story built in that. And some of it you don't need.
I don't need it.
But it helps.
But it does help make the movie far more palatable.
Yeah, and the only other thing I would add is the movie's more fun to watch with people. Alone,
Okay.
you analyze it too much. You try to make sense of it, but if you're with your homies, with your partner, it'll just be like, Look how fucking ridiculous this is. Can you believe we're watching this? And that that in itself is a little bit more fun. So that would be my last recommendation and addition to Justin's review.
Yeah, for real. This is a party movie.
100%.
Sure. I wouldn't want to go to that party, fucking, unless there's a cyanide in the Kool-Aid.
Brandon, you hosted a party where we watched The Room. How dare you?
Yeah, and this is the best party ever. Christian, please tell the listeners how they can follow you, man, and keep up with all the work that you're doing.
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Polanco. You can follow me on Instagram at Christian_Polanco. And then if you are a fan of soccer at all and you like comedians talking about the sport, at Soccer Cooligans everywhere. Download the podcast as well. Just search the Cooligans podcast. We're on Meadowlark Media, which is the Dan Levitard and Friends network. Nice. And it's just we're doing a lot of really cool stuff. We did a bunch of stuff for the World Cup. We interviewed some even American players that came back from Qatar, and we're doing a bunch of really cool stuff for the Women's World Cup that's happening this summer. So usually the World Cup is when that the sport is at its peak of popularity. So it's always a fun time to do shows during World Cup years because everybody's paying attention at the same time. So so tune in. That's it.
Nice. Folks, you can follow me at American Collins and all social media platforms, AmericanCollins.com. You can follow the show at Medium P Podcast as well on all social media platforms. And then go to youtube.com/Medium Popcorn, push that subscribe button because it helps get our metrics up, as well as alert to you about all future interviews and celebrity interviews that we have over there. And Justin, if people want to follow you and support the show financially, what can they do, my brother?
Guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on the socials, but you can support this show at patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. Yeah. If you're looking at the show, you're just like, man, I need more, or the specific episode you're looking for, go to Patreon. Our entire backlog goes to Patreon. We have so many bonus episodes, mini shows, guys. Like our Patreon is stacked, and you need to be a part of it. And right. If you're feeling extra froggy, take yourself over to tpublic.com/medium popcorn and grab yourself a little swag-a-doodle.
Swagalicious, baby. Christian, thank you so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. We've been want to have you on for a while, talk about soccer and just learn a little bit more.
Happy to hop on, man. It's been too long, and if I have to just do the show just so we can catch up, I'm down too. So whatever, bro. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Let's catch a game together, Christian.
Dude, NYCFC this Saturday. Seriously, if you want to come through, let me know.
This Saturday.
7:30 is the game. All the games are on Saturdays, by the way.
You know what? I may do it.
Okay, let me know.
Justin make it sound like a threat, but
yeah, anything that I show up to is a threat.
Jesus Christ. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace.